Hello class, my name is Michael Dickey and I'm here today to tell you about the Geert-Hofstede analysis and how it can be intertwined with Taiwan's culture. The Geert-Hofstede analysis is derived of 6 different components including power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence. Here we have the results shown for Taiwan and their results for the Geert-Hofstede analysis. They have a high power distance, a very low individualism, a low but just slightly low masculinity, a high uncertainty avoidance, a very high long-term orientation, and a pretty neutral indulgence. Power distance is defined as the extent to which the less powerful members of an institution or organization within a company expect and accept that power is distributed equally or distributed unequally. And in Taiwan, they have a very high power distance. This means that the distance between the top management and the lower management and lower workers is great. And decision making is pretty much all done at the higher upper levels. This is due to their need for rules and regulations and things to be put in place for them to get things done. Some people believe that this hierarchy culture could be good, and some believe that it could be bad. In a good way, the hierarchy culture lays out guidelines and specific desired outcomes for the industry or the companies to finish, and it can lead for good numbers. But at the same time, this can also be bad. Some argue that this may cause your company to eventually reach a standstill. Also, it puts all the decision making at the people at the top who may not know what the people at the bottom want, and it can cause people to become unhappy. This can also cause your company to eventually crash because you just can't keep up with some of the things that are changing because you're unwilling to accept change and innovations that need to happen. When it comes to individualism versus collectivism, the easiest way I've found to differentiate the two is how a culture looks at I or we. In America, we tend to look at ourselves and what can better us. In Taiwan, however, they have a very collectivist culture, which is more focused on the we. They have a very high dedication to their family and their friends and the people that they are loyal to in their companies. And most relationships tend to last a long time and they're taken very seriously. That's why a lot of family members and family friends stay true to each other. And whenever embarrassment is caused to one, it's not caused just to themselves. It's caused to everybody they associate with. So it's important to know that you're not just trying to save the face of yourself, but you're trying to save the face of your entire company and organization whenever you cause embarrassment to them. Unlike in America, where it's pretty much just all on yourself. And when we get to talking about a masculine versus a feminine culture, a masculine culture has more of a focus on achieving goals and success and wanting to be the best. There's clear defined winners and losers. Whereas in a feminine culture, like in Taiwan, they find more focus on their family and taking care of others and loving others, and their quality of life over the amount of money they make is more important. They're working towards, helping not only themselves but the people around them have a better life than just trying to make a bunch of money. When it comes to boasting in a feminine culture such as Taiwan, they really look down upon it. You're not even supposed to accept a compliment if somebody tells you that they like your watch. You're supposed to deny the compliment. If somebody tells you did really good in your presentation, you're supposed to tell them you were terrible and you were nervous. When it comes to negotiations, a lot of compromising is done. Most business practices aren't hostile, where they try to demand others from companies. They actually work together because in the long term, they want to go ahead and work things out to try to make their relationships last. And that brings me to their uncertainty avoidance. When looking at uncertainty avoidance, some of the things to keep in mind is how a company and how the people in a company handle situations that they are not clear, or the outcome is not clear. In Taiwan, they have a very high uncertainty avoidance. This is because they like to know exactly what's going on. That's why they have so many rules set up. They have strict policies of how they're supposed to act, and they expect everybody to be pretty punctual. On their time orientation, they have a very long-term orientation, and this is because they take very high um, emphasis on their modern education and their thrift, and they understand that the relationships you have now are connections that you're going to have your entire life. They're not something that you're just going to forget about. They understand that your actions that you do today aren't going to be clear tomorrow. Your actions are going to stay with you. So they have an actual sense of shame, unlike here in America, where we just kind of think our actions are going to be, you know, posted on Twitter for 2 days and then forgot about. So when it comes to their indulgence, pretty much looking at indulgence, it's how members of societies, like the kids, are raised, and to be able to have their own self control, to not fold into their desires and impulses, and be able to restrain themselves and think. Um, the main problem is that Taiwan scored neutral, so there's really no way of helping there, and it pretty much comes down to how each individual person was raised. And with that, I reached the end of my presentation. Here is my works cited. I appreciate it.